Hi, my name is Jabel, and I would just like to say that coming here to the course really helps me gain confidence to take my exam, especially practicing with the equipment and materials. It feels like I'm at the OSCE Center taking my exam.
My name is Manong George. Welcome to the channel. And today we have a very special guest.
I am Alfred Battaglia. I'm a critical care nurse specialist. Been working as an ICU nurse for 11 years now, and I've been working here in London for the last 5 years. In our trust, I had the first COVID patient. It was really scary, and during those first few months, the guidances from PHE England, from the NHS keeps changing every 2 days, every 3 days. And that time it was just chaos. First, you didn't have enough nurses. Second, you didn't know what to do because that's a new disease. We were just doing what other trusts are doing. I would have 15 patients the most, intubated, level 3, very sick patients, really, really sick, like multi-organ failure. As much as you want to try to troubleshoot each patient and support each nurse, hindi kaya kasi you'll be called into the next bed space, may nag-a-arrest, may nag-prepare arrest, and then, everything was just running on adrenaline. Like, you can't stop and feel your emotions. You just go through, you're just running on adrenaline. And there was a lot of deaths. Really, really lots of death in the first wave. I couldn't sleep. I think everyone has vivid nightmares. I had nightmares about work. Like when I go home, then I would sleep. Then I was dreaming about work, and it was like, and then you're seeing patients at the same age as you. You got 30-year-old fit and well, 19-year-old fit and well, dying, and you'd be scared like, what the hell, that could be me in bed. And so, then that added to the anxiety that's already happening. I had the interview with BBC regarding mental health. I just started crying. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I have that so much baggage with me.
I had colleagues who got sick and got hospitalized. Was the main worry is like, what if I get it?
I was aware that mentally something's happening, something's getting into me, but I just brush it off because typical Filipino that I'm resilient, and a typical healthcare provider, typical ITU nurse, like, we are resilient. And that's actually the real vibe that time, that we'll get through this, we'll be strong. And actually we were. We were strong. We got through it. We were resilient. There's the physical strain of it. My 12-hour shift sometimes gets to 14 hours, barely even breaks. And then I have to be strong for the rest of the unit kasi nga I run the ship. And then there were shifts like we were so short, I had to do 5 long days. Kasi nga wala nang ibang senior staff. Some of them are isolating, some were sick as well. But I just had to carry on because, again, I put pressure on myself as well that I have to be good because I am Alfred. So I have to be good, I have to perform well, I have to get through this, and I'm Filipino. And we're expected to be hardworking and all that. In these times, I wasn't sleeping properly now. I was having 2 hours sleep. The anxiety is back. So what happens before I get to work, like, I just worry a lot, like, do I have enough staff for today? Do I have enough redeployed people at least? Do I have meds? How many patients will I have today? Will I have any deaths today? So bago ka palang pumasok, when I wake up, yun ang agad ang iniisip ko. And then there was this one patient that triggers that started my panic attacks. So she was on a ventilator, she couldn't breathe. And then she was young, she was 40. She couldn't breathe, so I was fiddling her with her ventilator, trying to make her breathe. Her saturations was at 85, she's on 100% oxygen, but she wasn't ventilating. In the end, I had to call the family. We had to decide as a team, like, look, we just need to let the family in. And I called them, the family came, and I saw the 2 young children. And then that's when it got to me. Because I was letting their mom in and all that. And, sorry, that's my trigger. So that triggered me a lot. Then I got home. Then I was falling asleep. I slept. And then I woke up. I couldn't breathe. I was dreaming of her. Again, the dream was, I was in the bay. I was fiddling the ventilator to make her breathe. I was like, breathe for fuck's sake. And then, because she couldn't breathe, I woke up. I was choking, that my trachea closed off. And I couldn't really breathe. And I woke up, I started coughing and coughing to open my airways. And during that time I was coughing and I couldn't breathe. I know it wasn't physiologic. I know it was something psychologically driven. And I was really scared because I live alone in a flat. And that's the start of my triggers. That's the start of my panic attacks. And now, talking about it, you see, I'm getting riled up. I'm teary-eyed. Because still, when I talk about it, it brings back bad memories. And then it kept happening. It kept happening. I wouldn't sleep. I dream of patients not being able to read. I wake up, then I couldn't sleep and shit. So that kept happening. So then during this time, I was talking to my matron that I'm not really doing well. Like, I'm very anxious. I'm having these panic attacks. I'm not sure if this is PTSD, probably now. And I'm just demotivated. I wouldn't shower for days. So when I'm on my day off, I wouldn't shower. It's either I won't eat or I would binge eat. Like, I would just order everything on Uber Eats and just eat. I got really fat. I wasn't taking care of myself properly. I was depressed, basically. And then in the hospital, we've got these talk changes. They send out these guidances like psychiatric help, psychological help, and all that. So I took it. I self-referred myself. It's called Talk Changes. It's for City in Hackney. So I referred myself for that. And then they replied. And then I had my first psychological session. And then that's when I got diagnosed with severe anxiety, moderate depression, panic attacks, and PTSD, which is not new to me. Which is, I knew it was there. I knew I've got it. I just needed it to be said to me. And it's weird. It's a weird feeling. Like, because for example, sa culture natin, it's a bit taboo when you talk about mental health. Because we just brush it off. You're just like, oh, it's nothing. You just need a bit of shopping. You just need a bit of boys. You just need to go out. You'll be fine. But it's the weird feeling that you're self-aware. So I've got the session and I was crying to my psychiatrist. And she cried as well. Because that's how bad it was. And then so she said, okay, you need to go off sick. You got 3 options: go off sick, redeployed outside of ITU, which is like, well, everyone's getting redeployed into ITU because this was end of January, we're still surging. And then she's like, okay, you need a sabbatical. And I'm like, I can't do a sabbatical because I'm the breadwinner. So I still need to work. Because being the eldest boy in overseas, so the typical Filipino dream, going overseas and all that. So I said, okay, let's take off sick. And that taking off sick was hard for me as well, because I'm a type A personality. I like working. And then there's the thinking that I let down my colleagues by going sick. I let down the matron, which I love, whom I love. And then I would let down myself. because like why the fuck is happening to Alfred? No, you need to pick yourself up. You shouldn't do this. Like, it's hard to let go basically because if you describe myself in one word, I would attach ITU Nurse. So it's hard to take that off from me. I would cling to it. I would grab it and grab my dear life into it. So it was hard. But what helped me when my therapist said, I'm giving you the permission to take care of yourself. And that's everything, like, cleared up, everything lit up. I'm like, oh yeah. And she said, you need to give the compassion you give to your patients to yourself as well, which I wasn't giving anything to my patient. I wasn't giving anything to myself that time. It was just, everything was just being given out. And it was just burnout, compassionate burnout. I was just dry, basically. And I was at the edge of my breaking point. I took the time off. I had a month of leave, and it was hard at first. Yes, you know, I felt I let my colleagues down because we were surging, and I just withdrew myself. And then, you know, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm here. I'm in London. I can't go anywhere. It's locked down. I can't go home to the Philippines. What am I going to do? And so what I did is, because I'm still having, so we had weekly therapy, which I have still. And what I did is I brought gym equipment, you can see at the back. Then I have my plants everywhere, you can see at the back. And then, you know, I started playing at my Xbox again. I started cooking. I did CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I started running. I started going out, getting some sun. And eventually, it was getting better. And as the therapy goes on, I was crying less. And then I wasn't feeling bad, like, about myself. So that's how, and now, ngayon, I just had my therapy yesterday, 2 days ago, and she's very proud of me of where I am right now. Kasi I've gone 180-degree improvement from where I was like 2 months ago. Now I was a complete wreck, and, you know, I was a big depressed slob.
Wow. So
I think it's being judged. I think, you know, our community is very somehow close-knit, that you don't want to get judged by your colleagues, by your family, and you don't want your family to worry at home as well. That's why I think our people, our culture finds it hard to talk about it. So going through this, actually, I was tweeting it on Twitter, what I'm going through, and I've actually helped people on Twitter. And so what happened was, may mga Filipino nurses na nag-DM sa akin sa Twitter that they're actually going through the same thing. And I was like, then what are you doing? It's like, I don't know, what should I do? Like, I'm scared to go off sick because my manager might fire me. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. That shouldn't happen, the very least. So this is what you do. This is what I did. So I think I've spoken to 3 nurses na Filipino. And, you know, and now they've replied to me, Alfred, you know, I've taken what you've said. I've addressed that I have problems. And now I'm not still well, but I'm doing something about it, about my mental health. So they're having therapists. So I think you just need one person to be open about it. And then it could be relatable. And I think sa atin, because we have this image of being resilient, we have this image of being hardworking, which is we are, which is ingrained to us. Pero, especially I think in the millennials, it's an age group thing as well. I think the millennials, the younger generations are a bit aware of this. Because when I talk to this about my older peers, you'd get the same, like, okay ka lang, it's fine, you'd be okay, blah, blah, blah. It's a bit dismissive. So, but when you talk about it with your peers, they would understand it at least na, oh yeah, I get why you're feeling like that. I guess our generations is a bit more exposed socially and media wise. First, breathe in, breathe out, take a full day off, assess yourself. What I've learned is these things are a bit hard to talk about your peers, like people at work, because people at work can be dismissive. What I'm saying is that people would say, "Oh, I've been through that as well. Oh, you've been through that. You'll be fine." So that's why, as much as possible, you talk. Pag-usapan mo siya outside work, or like friends not in the same place, or that's it. Kasi people can be like, "Oh, parehas na naman tayo pinagdaanan na, ba't kayo nararamdaman?" So that's a big no-no. So as much as possible, if you're gonna talk to it with someone at work, it needs to be in a fair ground. Actually, in the UK, we're quite lucky. There's a specific Frontline helpline for Filipino. You just need to text Frontline to a number. It is provided by NHS England. Tapos, I've done that actually, and they would have a Filipino speaker for you. Then a lot of the trust would have links and publishings and online guidance and apps. But there's another school of thought about this apps, guidances, and links. You cannot treat mental health with an app. You cannot treat mental health with a mindfulness lecture. You actually treat mental health with talking to a proper psychiatrist or psychologist, which your trust could offer still. So for example, I work in City in Hackney, we've got talk changes. Your GP could even do it for you. Yeah? So you just need to find the resources in your trust. Speak to your manager. Don't be afraid to speak with your manager, with your team leader. If you need to escalate it to someone senior, do it. Ang problema sa ating Pinoy, we're afraid to speak to our managers most of the time. Don't be. Speak out. Speak out with anything you want. Like, not even just with mental health. Speak out. Don't let people trample on you. Don't be quiet. Start to speak out. So speak to your managers. Find psychological support. Not just any app. Not just any lecture. Don't do that. Find a treatment. Talk to your GP. When you say you're a nurse, having go through the COVID, they would ring you immediately. That's what my GP did. Well, after my therapist, I asked my GP, I referred myself, because I needed a sick note. He rang me after an hour and he was so worried about me. Because they will prioritize you, because you're an NHS worker. What else could help you is, if they offer you the off sick, take the off sick. Do go off sick. Take it. Because you as a nurse, the hospital can replace you. You're dispensable. They can go to the Philippines, hire another band 5. They can go somewhere else, hire another band 5. But you cannot replace your peace of mind. You are replaceable. You are replaceable to the trust. But you cannot replace yourself. You cannot replace your peace of mind. So if you need to take time off to rebuild yourself, to rebuild your confidence, rebuild your peace of mind, your sense of self, do it. Because if we lose you, 30 patients would lose a nurse. So that's what they say to me. Like, if we lose you, Alfred, 33 ITU patients would lose a nurse in charge. Isn't it? So you need to give the compassion that you give to your patients to yourself. And also, eto nga what I keep saying is that we went through the same storm, but we were driving different boats. Same storm, different boats. My boat was a bit rocky, yours would have been a bit steady, but we went through the same storm. But some waves are larger than the others. So You cannot say what you've been through is the same with me. So what you're feeling right now is true. What you're feeling right now should be acknowledged. What you're feeling right now, you need to talk to it to another person, to a professional if you need to. And don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Hindi mo ikakababa yan. Hindi mo ikakaliit yan na sa tao. It will actually make you a stronger person. Because it takes a strong person to know that there's something wrong with them. And that's how I learned it. Akala ko nun, when I was dealing with it, I was like, oh, like, bumabating ko sa sarili ko. But now looking back, retrospectively, I was like, the hell? I was strong enough to recognize something's wrong with me, to take a step to actually take care of myself. And a strong person can do that. So you are strong. You just need to find that strength. You need to find that push. You know, George will have my Instagram. You can talk to me if you need to. You can talk to George. You know, if you need someone more private, more personal, if you can't talk to your colleagues about it, but do it. Like even the minimum micro brewing pa lang, namumuo pa lang, low pressure area pa lang, gawan mo na ng paraan. Ayaw mo siyang gawing bagyo, basically. And that's what I did. And now I'm a much better person that I was. I'm a much better nurse. I'm still struggling with anxiety, but it's on the normal levels. I will still have some triggers with my PTSD, like what happened with me now, but it wasn't a massive trigger. But I would still have the occasional ones, but I'm managing it. Like now I'm talking again. I'm composed. I'm not crying. I'm not lashing out. So I'm not freaking out. So you know, you can go back to your own self, and you're actually once you come out of it, you're gonna be a stronger person. Always remember, Manong knows.
Manong knows best, put your worries to rest when staying in the United Kingdom. Manong knows best.